My name is Matt Russo, and I fix broken computers for a living. 37 years old, decent at my job, terrible at reading people. That's probably why it took me 3 months to figure out my wife Tracy was having an affair. The realization hit me on a Tuesday morning while I was replacing a hard drive in Mrs. Henderson's ancient desktop. She'd been complaining about slow performance, but the real problem was 17 years of accumulated digital garbage. Kind of like my marriage, I guess. Matt, honey, could you grab my phone charger from the bedroom? Tracy called from the kitchen. She was getting ready for work. Same routine as always. HR manager at Morrison Industries. Always dressed sharp. Always in control. I found her phone on the nightstand, screen lit up with a text notification. The preview made my stomach drop. Last night was incredible. Can't wait to see you again. E. My hands shook as I picked up the device. The message was from someone named Eric Bell. I scrolled up through their conversation, each message like a punch to the gut. Plans to meet, complaints about me, intimate details that made me want to throw the phone against the wall. Did you find it? Tracy's voice drifted from downstairs. Yeah, coming, I managed to croak. I took screenshots with my own phone, my IT training kicking in automatically. Evidence first, emotions later. 3 years of marriage, and apparently I'd been the only one taking it seriously. Tracy was buttering toast when I handed her the charger. She looked beautiful in her navy blazer, blonde hair perfectly styled. The same woman I'd fallen for at a company mixer 5 years ago. The same woman who'd apparently been lying to my face for months. Thanks, babe. I'll be late tonight. Team building event with the girls. Right, team building. The words tasted bitter. She kissed my cheek and grabbed her purse. Now love you. The front door clicked shut and I stood alone in our kitchen, surrounded by the remnants of our normal morning routine. Coffee cups in the sink, her lipstick mark on my cheek, the lingering scent of her perfume. I spent the next hour going through her laptop. Tracy wasn't particularly tech-savvy, which made my job easier. Browser history, cached images, saved passwords. The deeper I dug, the worse it got. Eric Bell owned a gym called Iron Paradise across town. Divorced, drives a red Mustang, posts shirtless selfies on social media. Everything I wasn't. The messages between them went back 4 months, starting innocent and escalating quickly. But the real gut punch came when I found the group chat. Tracy had a tight circle of friends from college, Kelsey, Alana, and Stephanie. They called themselves the Squad and maintained a constant stream of gossip and commentary. I'd always found them shallow and pretentious, but Tracy loved their approval. The chat history was brutal. They'd been discussing my shortcomings in excruciating detail. My receding hairline, my boring job, my lack of ambition. Kelsey had nicknamed me the Router because I was useful but invisible. He actually asked me what I wanted for our anniversary, Tracy had written. Like I want anything from Radio Shack, LOL. Stephanie's response, girl, you need to upgrade your hardware. Alana, Eric's definitely an improvement. Those arms. Tracy, I know, right? Matt's idea of working out is carrying computer equipment upstairs. I screenshot everything, methodically building a digital dossier of my wife's betrayal. The IT guy in me appreciated the irony. She was cheating on me through technology, and technology was going to be her downfall. My phone buzzed with a text from my best friend Dev. Beer tonight? You sound stressed lately. Dev Patel had been my roommate in college and remained my closest friend. He worked as a software developer downtown and had a gift for cutting through emotional nonsense with brutal honesty. Definitely. O'Malley's at 7, I replied. I needed someone to talk to, and Dev was the only person who'd tell me the truth without sugarcoating it. The rest of the day passed in a blur of routine service calls. Crashed laptops, virus infections, forgotten passwords, simple problems with simple solutions, unlike my marriage. O'Malley's was crowded when I arrived, filled with after-work professionals, unwinding with cheap beer and overpriced appetizers. Dev had claimed our usual corner booth and was already nursing a Guinness. You look terrible, he said as I sat down. What's going on? I showed him the screenshots. All of them. Dev's expression grew darker with each swipe. Holy crap, Matt, this is bad. Tell me something I don't know. What are you going to do? I'd been thinking about that all day. The obvious answer was confrontation, followed by lawyers and divorce papers, the mature, adult response. But something else was brewing in my mind, a different kind of solution. I'm going to make them pay, I said quietly. Dev raised an eyebrow. Pay how? Tracy's whole world revolves around her image. Her friends, her job, her social media presence. She's terrified of looking foolish or losing face. And I'm going to destroy all of it. Dev leaned back in his seat. Matt, I know you're angry, but no, listen. She thinks I'm boring and predictable. The invisible IT guy who fixes things quietly and never makes waves. She has no idea what I'm actually capable of. What are you talking about? I pulled out my phone and opened a notes app. Tracy's having an affair with Eric Bell. Her friends know and encourage it. They all think I'm a joke. Right. But they've made a critical error. They've underestimated their opponent. Dev frowned. You're starting to sound like a supervillain. Good, because I'm about to become one. The next morning, I called in sick to work. Tracy had already left for her early meeting, which I now knew was code for gym time with Eric. I had the house to myself and 8 hours to plan. First, I needed more information about Eric Bell. His social media profiles were public, revealing a man who clearly spent more time photographing his biceps than developing his brain. Recent posts showed him at various bars and restaurants around town, often with different women. His business, Iron Paradise, had mediocre reviews online. Several complaints about unprofessional conduct and inappropriate behavior toward female clients. One reviewer mentioned seeing him getting cozy with a married blonde in the parking lot. That had to be Tracy. I drove across town to scope out the gym. It was in a strip mall, between a nail salon and a tax preparation office. Eric's red Mustang was parked prominently near the entrance. Vanity plate reading Iron 1. Through the large front windows, I could see him training a young brunette on the bench press, standing unnecessarily close and placing his hands over hers on the barbell. Real professional. Tracy's car wasn't there, but according to their text messages, she usually came in around 10. I parked across the street and waited. At 10:15, Tracy's silver BMW pulled into the lot. She was wearing yoga pants and a sports bra, an outfit I'd never seen before. She'd clearly been shopping for this affair. Eric met her at the door with a hug that lasted too long and a kiss that made my jaw clench. They disappeared inside together. I spent the next hour taking photos and making notes. Eric's routine, the gym's layout, security cameras, regular customers. Information was power, and I intended to have all of it. Back home, I began phase 2, social engineering. Tracy's laptop was still logged into her Facebook account, giving me access to her entire social network. Her friends list read like a directory of suburban social climbers, each profile carefully curated to project success and happiness. Kelsey Morrison worked in marketing and lived in an expensive condo downtown. Divorced, no kids, spent most weekends at trendy bars, posting selfies with captions like, "Living my best life." Alana Rodriguez managed a boutique clothing store and was married to a lawyer. Her posts focused on luxury purchases and exotic vacations, always tagged with humble bragging captions. Stephanie Chen was a real estate agent specializing in high-end properties. Recently engaged to a doctor, constantly posting about wedding planning and her impressive ring. All three women had one thing in common. They were obsessed with their public image. Their social media presence was carefully maintained to project an aura of sophistication and success. Perfect. I created several fake social media accounts using stock photos and generic names. Then I began following their friends, commenting on posts, building a network of connections that would seem legitimate. The plan was taking shape. My phone buzzed with a text from Tracy. "Working late tonight. Don't wait up." "No problem," I replied. "I'll keep myself busy." That evening, I visited 3 different bars Tracy and Eric had mentioned in their messages. The bartenders were friendly and talkative, especially when I mentioned I was planning a surprise party for my wife. "Oh, Tracy. Yeah, she comes in here sometimes. Usually with that gym guy, Eric." They seem close. Really close? Another bartender added with a knowing look. I bought them drinks and listened to their stories. Tracy and Eric weren't subtle. They'd been seen holding hands, sharing intimate conversations, leaving together. Half the service industry in town knew about their affair. This was going to be easier than I thought. Friday afternoon, I put the first phase of my plan into motion. Tracy was at work, probably texting Eric about their weekend plans. I had her laptop, her passwords, and complete access to her digital life. I started with the group chat. Using Tracy's account, I posted a message to the squad. Girls, I need to tell you something important. Can we meet Sunday? It's about Matt. The responses came quickly. Kelsey. OMG, what happened? Is everything okay? Alana. Did he find out about Eric? Stephanie. We can meet at my place. Wine and drama, my favorite combination. Perfect. They were all going to be in one place, expecting to discuss my humiliation. Instead, they were going to experience their own. Next, I needed to get Eric alone. I created a fake email account and sent him a message posing as a potential business investor. I'm interested in discussing expansion opportunities for Iron Paradise. Are you available for a meeting this weekend? Eric responded within an hour, eager to discuss his business prospects. We arranged to meet Sunday evening at a coffee shop downtown. The timing was crucial. Tracy's friends would be gathered at Stephanie's house, expecting gossip. Eric would be across town, waiting for a meeting that would never happen. And I would be orchestrating the downfall of everyone who'd betrayed me. Saturday morning, Tracy announced she was spending the day shopping with Kelsey. Girl time, she said, kissing my cheek. We haven't caught up in forever. Have fun, I said. Buy yourself something nice. She left around 10 and I immediately got to work. I drove to Iron Paradise and parked across the street. Eric's Mustang was there, along with several other cars. The gym was busy with weekend warriors trying to work off their weeknight indulgences. I waited until Eric stepped outside to take a phone call, then quickly approached his car. The doors were unlocked, and apparently he trusted his suburban strip mall location. I slipped a small GPS tracker under his rear bumper and placed a tiny wireless camera in his cup holder, disguised as a phone charger. Both devices were easily available online, marketed to parents who wanted to monitor their teenage drivers. The whole operation took less than 2 minutes. Back home, I tested the equipment. The GPS tracker showed Eric's location in real time, and the camera provided a clear view of his car's interior. I could hear conversations, see passengers, and record everything. My phone buzzed with a text from Tracy. Having so much fun. Kelsey says hi. I checked the GPS. Tracy's phone was at the Riverside Mall, exactly where she'd said she would be. Either she was actually shopping with Kelsey, or she'd gotten smarter about covering her tracks. I decided to find out. The mall was crowded with Saturday shoppers, families with strollers, and teenagers hanging out by the food court. I found Tracy and Kelsey at a department store, trying on dresses and laughing about something on Kelsey's phone. They actually were shopping together. I felt a brief moment of doubt. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe the affair was over. Then I heard Kelsey's voice. Eric is so much better looking than Matt. You definitely upgraded. I know, right? Matt's sweet, but he's so boring. Eric makes me feel alive again. Are you going to leave Matt? Tracy held up a red dress, examining herself in the mirror. Eventually. I want to make sure Eric's serious first. And I need to figure out the finances. Matt doesn't make much, but he's got that inheritance from his grandmother. My grandmother's money. The inheritance I'd been saving for our future. Maybe a down payment on a better house or starting a family. She wanted to steal that too. Any remaining guilt about my revenge plan evaporated. I left the mall and drove home, my resolve hardened. They thought I was boring and predictable. Tomorrow, they'd learn how wrong they were. Sunday morning arrived gray and drizzly, matching my mood. Tracy was unusually affectionate at breakfast, probably overcompensating for her guilty conscience. What are your plans today? She asked, buttering her toast. Nothing exciting. Maybe catch up on some work, watch the game. Sounds perfect. I'm meeting the girls at Stephanie's around 2. We're planning Alana's birthday party. That's nice. Tell them I said hello. She laughed. I'm sure they'd love that. After she left, I made my final preparations. I loaded the screenshots and photos onto a secure cloud server, created a simple presentation, and tested my equipment one more time. Everything was ready. At 1:45 p.m., I received a text from my fake investor account. Eric had confirmed our meeting and was looking forward to discussing his business expansion. At 2:10 p.m., the GPS tracker showed Tracy's car parked at Stephanie's house across town. It was time to destroy some lives. I arrived at Stephanie's upscale neighborhood at 2:30 p.m., parking 2 blocks away where my car wouldn't be noticed. Her house was a modern colonial with a perfectly manicured lawn and a BMW in the driveway. Through the living room window, I could see 4 figures gathered around a coffee table. Tracy, Kelsey, Alana, and Stephanie, wine glasses in hand, deep in animated conversation. I activated the wireless signal booster I'd hidden in my backpack and connected to Stephanie's home Wi-Fi network. Her password was Real Estate 2023, not exactly Fort Knox security. From there, I accessed her smart TV system and began uploading my presentation. My phone buzzed with a text from Tracy. "Miss you! Having so much fun with the girls." "Miss you too," I replied. "Enjoy your party planning." Inside the house, I could see them laughing about something on Kelsey's phone. Probably more jokes at my expense. Not for much longer. I activated the presentation. Stephanie's 65-inch television suddenly displayed the group chat history, starting with their earliest messages about my shortcomings. The women's laughter died as they stared at their private conversations projected in high definition. "What the hell?" Stephanie jumped up, frantically pressing buttons on her remote. The presentation continued, showing their discussions about Tracy's affair, their encouragement of her betrayal, and their cruel nicknames for me. Every message, every joke, every casual cruelty displayed for all to see. "Turn it off," Alana shouted. "I can't! It's not responding!" Next came the photos. Eric and Tracy leaving restaurants together, kissing in the gym parking lot, his hands on her waist, her head on his shoulder. Intimate moments they thought were private. Tracy's face went white. How did someone get these? The final slide was a simple message. Surprise. Love. The router. Chaos erupted in the living room. Stephanie was frantically unplugging cables, while Kelsey tried to close the curtains. Alana was shouting questions at Tracy, who stood frozen in the middle of the room. My phone rang. Tracy's number. "Hello, darling," I answered. "Matt? What is this? How did you—" "I told you I was going to keep myself busy." "I've been very busy." "You're sick. This is invasion of privacy." "Really? That's your concern right now? Not the 4 months of lying and cheating, but my invasion of your privacy?" I could hear Stephanie in the background. "I can't get it to stop." "Turn off the TV," Tracy hissed. "Already tried that. I'm controlling it remotely." Pretty neat trick, right? Amazing what the boring IT guy can accomplish when he puts his mind to it. "Matt, please, we need to talk." "Oh, we'll talk. But first, I have another appointment." I hung up and drove across town to the coffee shop where Eric was waiting. He was easy to spot. The only guy in the place wearing a tank top in October, constantly checking his phone and flexing unconsciously. I watched him through the window for a few minutes, enjoying his growing confusion as his mysterious investor failed to appear. My phone buzzed with another call from Tracy. I let it go to voicemail. Eric's phone rang, and I watched him answer eagerly. "Hello? Yes, this is Eric Bell." I was calling from another burner phone. "Mr. Bell, this is Detective Morrison with the County Sheriff's Office. We need to speak with you regarding some allegations." "Allegations? What kind of allegations?" "We've received complaints about inappropriate conduct at your business. Several women have come forward with concerning reports." Eric's confident posture crumbled. That's not true. I run a professional establishment." "I'm sure you do, sir. However, we also have evidence of an ongoing affair with a married woman, which may constitute alienation of affection under state law." "Alienation of what?" "It means the wronged husband can sue you for damages, Mr. Bell. Potentially significant damages." Eric stood up abruptly, knocking over his chair. "This is crazy. Who's making these accusations?" "I'm not at liberty to discuss the details over the phone. We'll need you to come to the station for questioning." "Right now?" As soon as possible, sir. Eric rushed out of the coffee shop, leaving his jacket behind. I watched him drive away, probably heading straight to the police station where no Detective Morrison would be waiting for him. My phone had 6 missed calls from Tracy and 3 from unknown numbers, probably her friends trying to reach me. I decided it was time to go home. Tracy's BMW was in our driveway when I arrived, along with Kelsey's white Lexus. I could see them through the kitchen window, Tracy pacing frantically, while Kelsey sat at our table with her arms crossed. I walked through the front door like it was any other Sunday afternoon. Hey, honey, how was the party planning? Tracy spun around, her face flushed with anger and tears. How could you do this to me? Do what? I've been home all afternoon watching the game. Don't lie to me, Matt. That presentation, those photos. How long have you been spying on me? I set my keys on the counter and opened the refrigerator, pulling out a beer. About as long as you've been cheating on me. Kelsey stood up. This is harassment, Matt. What you did today was illegal. Was it? I used publicly available information in my own home network. Everything I showed was true, wasn't it? That's not the point, Tracy said. You humiliated me in front of my friends. Your friends? The same friends who have been calling me the router and encouraging you to cheat? Those friends? Kelsey's face reddened. You had no right to read our private messages. Private messages sent on devices connected to my home internet, using accounts with passwords I helped set up. Technically, I had every right. I took a long drink of beer, savoring their frustration. Where's Eric? I asked. I thought he'd be here defending your honor. He's dealing with some police matter, Tracy said quietly. Oh, that. Yeah, that was me too. Fake detective, fake investigation. He's probably sitting in a police station parking lot right now, trying to figure out what's happening. Tracy stared at me like she'd never seen me before. Who are you? I'm your husband. The boring IT guy you've been lying to for 4 months. The man you were planning to divorce and steal from. Steal from? Your conversation with Kelsey at the mall yesterday. My grandmother's inheritance, remember? You wanted to make sure Eric was serious before you left me. But you needed to figure out the finances first. The color drained from her face. Kelsey grabbed her purse. I'm not staying for this. Tracy, call me later. Don't leave, I said. The show's just getting started. I'm calling the police, Kelsey threatened. Go ahead. Tell them your friend's husband discovered her affair and exposed it to her social circle. I'm sure they'll be very sympathetic. Kelsey hesitated, then headed for the door. This isn't over, Matt. Actually, it is. Your part in it, anyway. After she left, Tracy and I stood in our kitchen, the weight of 3 years of marriage hanging between us. I never meant for it to happen, she said finally. Which part? The affair? Or getting caught? The affair. Eric and I, it just happened. You're never here, Matt. You're always working, always distracted. I felt invisible. So you decided to make me invisible instead. She sat down at the kitchen table, her head in her hands. I was going to tell you. When? After you'd figured out how to take half of everything I own? It's not like that. It's exactly like that, Tracy. You and your friends have been planning this for months. The only thing you didn't plan for was me fighting back. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This is Eric. We need to talk. I showed Tracy the message. Looks like your boyfriend wants to chat. Don't answer it. Why not? I think it's time we all had a conversation. I typed back, my address is 412 Maple Street. Come over. Matt, no, please don't make this worse. Worse? Tracy, you destroyed our marriage. I'm just making sure everyone understands the consequences. 20 minutes later, Eric's red Mustang pulled into our driveway. He sat in the car for several minutes, probably working up the courage to face me. When he finally approached the front door, I was ready. Eric Bell looked exactly like his social media photos. Artificially tanned, overly muscled, and wearing clothes 2 sizes too small. Up close, I could see the insecurity behind his aggressive posture. We need to talk, he said without preamble. Come in. Tracy's in the kitchen. He followed me inside, his eyes darting around our modest home like he was casing the joint. Tracy stood up when she saw him. Eric, you shouldn't be here. That fake detective call scared the hell out of me. I spent 2 hours at the police station before they told me no Detective Morrison worked there. Sorry about that, I said. I needed to get your attention. Eric turned to face me, trying to project intimidation. You think you're clever, don't you? Clever enough to catch you two. Clever enough to expose your affair to everyone who matters. Clever enough to make you drive across town chasing a phantom detective. You're pathetic, Matt. No wonder Tracy needed a real man. A real man who leaves his car unlocked in public. A real man who falls for a fake police investigation. A real man who's cheating with another man's wife. Eric stepped closer, his hands clenched into fists. Watch your mouth. Or what, you'll hit me? In my own home, in front of witnesses? That would be assault, Eric. Real crime, real consequences. Tracy moved between us. Stop it, both of you. No, let him talk, Eric said. Let him get it all out. Then maybe we can move on like adults. Move on? I laughed. Eric, you have no idea what's coming next. What's that supposed to mean? I pulled out my phone and opened the GPS tracking app. It means I know everywhere you've been for the past week. Every client you've cheated with, every bar you've visited, every lie you've told. His confident expression wavered. I also know about the complaints against your gym, the inappropriate conduct, the harassment allegations. What do you think happens when I send those photos of you and Tracy to your business insurance company? To the strip mall management? To your ex-wife's divorce attorney? You can't prove anything. I can prove everything. Photos, timestamps, GPS coordinates. Your entire affair documented in excruciating detail. Eric looked at Tracy, then back at me. What do you want? I want you both to understand something. You thought I was weak, boring, invisible. You thought you could lie to me, cheat on me, and steal from me without consequences. I walked to our living room window and opened the curtains. See that house across the street? Mrs. Peterson. She's been watching your car in our driveway for the past half hour, probably wondering why my wife's boyfriend is visiting our home. Eric glanced outside nervously. And that house next door? The Johnsons? They've got a teenage son who's very active on social media. Loves to post about neighborhood drama. I turned back to face them. You wanted excitement, Tracy. You wanted to feel alive. Well, congratulations. Your entire social circle knows about your affair. Your husband knows. Your neighbors are starting to figure it out. And your boyfriend here is about to lose his business. Matt, please, Tracy whispered. Can't we work this out? Work what out? Our marriage is over. Has been since the day you decided Eric was more interesting than the man you promised to love and honor. Eric straightened up, trying to regain his composure. Fine. You caught us. You had your revenge. What happens now? Now? Now you both live with the consequences. Tracy, you can have your divorce. But you're not getting my grandmother's money, and you're not getting this house. I'll make sure of that. And Eric, you're going to discover that small towns have long memories. Every time you walk into a restaurant, a bar, or a grocery store, people are going to remember you as the guy who breaks up marriages. Good luck with that. Eric's phone buzzed. He looked at it, and his face went pale. Problem? I asked. My business partner wants to meet tomorrow. Says there are some issues we need to discuss. I smiled. Issues like photos of you compromising your professional relationships. Yeah, I might have sent those along to a few relevant parties. You son of a... Careful, Eric. You're still in my house. He looked at Tracy one more time, then headed for the door. This isn't over. Yes, it is, I called after him. It's completely over. After Eric left, Tracy and I stood in our living room, 3 years of marriage reduced to awkward silence. I'll pack some things, she said finally. Stay at my sister's for a while. Good idea. She started toward the stairs, then stopped. Matt? Yeah? I really didn't mean for it to happen this way. I know, but it did happen, and now we both have to live with it. She went upstairs, and I heard her moving around in our bedroom, gathering clothes and personal items. 20 minutes later, she came back down with a suitcase and her laptop bag. I'll call you in a few days to talk about arrangements. Sure, she paused at the front door. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. Me too, Tracy. Me too. After she left, I sat alone in our living room, surrounded by the remnants of our life together. Wedding photos on the mantle, her books on the shelves, the couch we'd picked out together last year. My phone buzzed with a text from Dev. Heard through the grapevine that you had an interesting weekend. Everything okay? Everything's perfect, I replied. Want to grab a beer and hear about it? Absolutely. O'Malley's in an hour? See you there. I looked around the house one more time, then grabbed my keys and headed for the door. I had a story to tell, and for the first time in months, it was going to have a happy ending, at least for me. 3 months later, I was installing a new server system for a downtown law firm when my phone rang. Unknown number. Matt Russo. Mr. Russo? This is Jennifer Walsh from Channel 7 News. I'm working on a story about social media privacy and digital revenge. I was wondering if you'd be willing to share your experience. I almost laughed. My experience with what? The situation with your ex-wife and her affair. How you use technology to expose their relationship. It's become quite a talking point in certain circles. Has it? Oh, yes. Some people are calling you a hero. Others think you went too far. I'd love to get your perspective. I thought about it for a moment. Tracy had moved to another city, supposedly for a fresh start. Eric's gym had closed after losing its lease, and he'd left town as well. Kelsey, Alana, and Stephanie had all blocked me on social media, but according to Dev, their friend group had imploded spectacularly. Thanks for the interest, I told the reporter, but I think I'll pass. Some stories are better left untold. Are you sure? It could be a great opportunity to share your side of things. I'm sure. Besides, I'm just a boring IT guy. Nothing exciting to report here. After I hung up, I went back to work, configuring network settings and running cable through ceiling tiles. Simple problems with simple solutions. Just the way I liked it. I